I'm a kid in the house. My brother's in the house. We can't go to the movies. We can't get new clothes. Christmas is not going to be good. This is not good. I don't feel good. I want an abundance of money. That's what I want. I want an abundance. I created my desire when I started to get maybe a slight burning desire for its achievement. So I had defined what I wanted, and I started to create even a small desire for its achievement. When you do this, you bring it into your life. This was something that happened every day, so I was focusing on this every day. Very important. A week later, something magical happened. My friend John Lavarante called me up. And he says, hey, Kevin, we're going to the movies tonight. You want to go? At the time in the 70s, we had longer hair. Remember in the 70s? Longer hair? Well, I was playing baseball with a couple of my friends. I had a baseball hat on. And when you go to the movies, sometimes there's a person behind you. And if you're in a baseball hat on, they tell you to take your baseball hat off. Well, I kind of had this long kind of hair. And if you're out there getting sweaty and I had to take my baseball hat off, I looked really, really stupid because my hair was all flat and it was kind of sticking out to the side. And I was going to be embarrassed if I had to take off my hat. So I told my friend John, I don't think I can go because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to take a shower. He goes, well, we're leaving in a half an hour. I says, well, if I'm not there, leave without me. I really wanted to go. So I hung up the phone. I kind of struggled, do I keep the hat on? Am I going to be embarrassed? I mean, how stupid I was, but I was a kid. So I decided, to heck with it. I'm going to go and I'll just keep the hat on. I'll sit in the back if I have to. So I walked down the hill, walked down the street. I go to my friend Johnny's house, knock on the door. Mrs. Lavarante answers the phone. She goes, Kevin, they already left. I go, oh, it's okay, Mrs. Lavarante. I told them that if I wasn't here, they could leave without me. Don't worry about it. Oh, I'll drive you to the theater. I go, no, listen. Believe me, they left. It's okay. No, she said, I'll drive it. It's okay. They left. I turned around and started walking home. I'm walking home, and there's a house here, and there's a kid that I used to play Little League with, Steve Gogan, standing on his porch. He's in a three-piece suit. I'm 13 years old at the time. Keep this in mind. He's in a three-piece suit. He's my age. If you're 13 wearing a three-piece suit, you're going to a funeral. It's like 7:45, 7:30, whatever it was at night, and he's got a three-piece suit on. So he goes, hey, Kevin. I look at him. What does he got a three-piece suit on? He says, hey, you're always looking to make some extra money, right? My eyes get really big. I'm thinking about making money. All of a sudden, this guy's asking me if I want to make money. So I go, well, what do I have to sell? Because at the time, I had sold some Christmas cards to the neighbors, and I had a paper route, and I had a couple little things going. So I said, what do I have to sell? And he says, I'm not at liberty to say. What? He says, he goes, there's a business meeting going to be going on here in about 15 minutes. He goes, I can get you in. I go, but I'm dressed like this. It's okay. I can get you in. Great. My mother thinks I'm going to the movies, so I got a couple hours to kill. So I go into his house, sit down. There's another couple sitting there. And this guy named Jan Jocelyn comes up with this whiteboard and easel, sets it up. And I'm at an Amway meeting. I don't know what Amway is, but this is an Amway meeting. And this guy starts talking about dreams and so forth and so on. And the two things that I understood was, if you want to be financially independent and not have to worry about money, I'm thinking, worry about money? This is exactly what's going on. I'm thinking, the finger of God is on this thing. What's going on here? He goes, if you want to be financially independent, two things. A, he says you have to be in a business of your own. That's the vehicle you need. And B, you have to have the right attitude. Those are the two things I got from that. And then at the end of the meeting, he says, I can give you a couple of books to go home with. Gave me a book called The Possible Dream and another book called The Magic of Thinking Big. I went home, I put The Possible Dream to the side, and I picked up The Magic of Thinking Big. And the first chapter was, believe you can succeed, and you will. Remember when I first came on stage, I talked about recognition and what the whole purpose of that is? There's a lot of purposes. But the number one main purpose is to get you to do the one thing that'll make all the difference in your life financially. And that is just get you to believe you can do it. And say, well, how does people going across stage get me to believe I can do it? Real simple. You're looking at some of these people and you're thinking, if that guy can do it, I can do it. So I read this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. The first chapter, believe you can succeed and you will. And then the second chapter was cure yourself of excuse-itis, the failure disease. The rest of the book was great, but those two things just hit me right between the eyes. And I started learning and getting my thinking straight. And that really was the beginning stages of some training that I was very lucky to get. Now, it's pretty interesting because that same year, another thing happened. When I read that book, I decided I was going to become a millionaire in the Amway business. So I signed up as an Amway distributor. I did everything they said to do. I started reading books every day. I was listening to tapes every day. Back then they were cassette tapes. I was going to every function I could, every rally, every seminar, every meeting. My mother and father were pulling their hair out. What are you doing? You're getting brainwashed. Yeah, they're washing my brain of all the negativity and filling it with positive thoughts. Yeah. And I remember, forget one time I'm listening to a tape and my mother comes downstairs to my room and she's mad that I'm listening to this tape. And she says, if you keep listening to that guy, you're going to turn out just like him. He's a multimillionaire. He's happy. He's successful. He's healthy. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking to do. So I started doing everything they said to do. And I started inviting all my 13-year-old friends to the Amway meetings. None of them joined, by the way. Or if they joined, they quit the next day. They're 13. And after about 6 months, I used the power against myself. What I did was...
All right, guys, let's get this call started. There we go. Grand Rising Familia. Happy Thursday. Super excited to be on today's call. Thank you guys also very much for, making it a priority to be on today's call. I'm very excited for it because, it's already December 12th. We're already going through the month and, it feels like time is just always going by so fast and, always looking forward to, pouring in, always looking forward to the YouTube sessions. Please, guys, real quick, take the time to just, spread the word, type an OTC in your group chats and your Telegrams and your Discords. We're going to be talking about some powerful stuff today. And, I'm actually looking forward to today's call because I know that this is one of those calls where people are going to have breakthroughs. People are going to have, realizations, and it's just going to be amazing for, the amount of information that you guys are going to get here today. So before I do get started, I want to let you guys know a couple house rules because this is one of those calls you don't just want to listen to. This is one of those calls that you want to make sure that you're taking notes on. All right. So house rule number one is, if you can, turn off any devices of distractions that you have around you. I want you guys to lock in with me here for the next 30 to 40 minutes that we have on this call. House rule number two is take notes. It is a proven fact that you will forget a vast majority of the information that I share here today unless you write it down. So, the information that I'm going to be sharing with you guys here today was given to me by my billionaire mentor, not millionaire mentor, but my billionaire mentor. And I want to be able to share that with you guys here on today's call. And then last but not least, house rule number three is listen with the intention to apply. Okay, listen with the intention to apply, because if you learn something here today and you don't apply it, then what was the purpose of it learning it? Yeah, you got some information, but it's not as good as if you actually take the time to apply the information. So if we're all good with those three house rules and I could get started with my training, put a 333 in the chat if we can get started with today's training, because today we're going to be talking about letting go of the past and why it's so important. Okay, letting go of the past and why it's so important. Now, you guys may be wondering, well, Nino, why this training today? Why are we talking about letting go of the past? And as you guys know, we're reaching the end of the year. Okay, we're obviously less than 18, 19 days till the year ends. So, not only have we had, a good 12, almost 12 months of experiences and ups and downs and things like that as well. So there's some things that we got to let go of this year, but we've also had things that have happened years prior, experiences that we want to learn to let go of and why they're so important. Because, I want you guys to have this foundation, this clean slate going into this next year. Okay, I know that going into a new year is a beautiful opportunity, right? It's something that a lot of people cherish and a lot of people leverage as a way to start from zero, start from scratch, be able to have a clean slate to start all over, right? It almost feels like, it's needed. I look back to some of my most powerful years, and I was grateful that I was able to have, a December 31st, a January 1st, because I was able to start from zero and I was able to like basically, put the year that I had behind me and, start new. And for me, believe it or not, that was this year too. Last year, 2023. If you guys know, and some of you guys probably know this because you guys were on the calls, but last year was a tough year for me. It was probably in my entrepreneur career, 2023 was definitely the hardest year of my life, for sure. But when 2024 started, I had the opportunity to start from zero again. It was a clean slate, and it was something that it made me feel grateful, because it almost felt like that year was never gonna end. So to have a brand new year come around, it was very key. So, today we're gonna talk about that, letting go of the past and why it's so important. But let's briefly break some things down. And the reason why I break this down to you guys is because this was mentorship that was given to myself and a whole group of leaders, by a billionaire mentor. I'm a part of a small group of people that gets access to this kind of mentorship. Okay. And I'm basically sharing with you guys the ideas of a billionaire from his mind to us. And I want to share with you guys here today. So, there's a couple of points that I'm going to cover, but there were a couple of things that he explained to us before he went over the points. And this is what was said, right? And here's the key, right? He said, so many of us carry the past like a heavy backpack filled with painful memories, regrets, and traumas. We replay them over and over and over in our minds, convincing ourselves that they're still real, alive, and still happening. But here's the truth. And if you want to, you could write this down. The past only exists if you keep waking it up. The past only exists if you keep waking it up. All right. It's not chasing you, it's you that's dragging it along. All right. So here's the thing. Listen to what I said, right? Listen to what it said. So many of us, we carry the past like a heavy backpack, and it's filled with painful memories, regrets, and traumas. And I can relate with this because I've been that person. I've been the person that carried around certain experiences that, I've had in the past, and I get it. I know what it is. Painful memories, regrets, things that, we regret doing, traumas that we experience. And It's not to diminish what you've experienced, not to diminish what you guys have went through. But the thing is, we replay them over and over and over in our minds and convincing ourselves to the point that they're still real, that they're still alive, and that it's still happening. Okay. But we got to understand and we got to remember that the past only exists if we keep waking it up. We gotta understand that. All right. And understand it's not chasing you. It's you that's dragging it along. Okay. The quote says, the past only exists if you keep waking it up. Okay. So the past isn't chasing you, it's you that's dragging it. You're dragging it along. Okay. And let me break it down a little bit more simply to you. The past is a perception. All right. Can everybody type perception in the chat for me, real quick? The past is a perception. So all it is a perception. I'm going to break this down. It's a perception, right? Now, this is what people don't understand. Perspective is what you see. Perception is how you see it. Okay? Understand that. Perspective is what you see. Perception is how you see it. Does that make sense? So, perception has a lot to do with how you're seeing things. Okay, this is key. Stay with me because we're going to get deep today, and I'm actually going to be doing a lot of teaching today. So, please stay with me with what I'm saying here today. Your past is a perception. Okay, it's basically your interpretation of something you believe that happened, right? And obviously, for some it did, and for some it didn't exactly happen the way that you wanted it to. All right. But the point is that some of us, we've let the past define us. All right. I can tell you guys from experience, there has been things that I've done in the past, things that I've regretted, things that, were traumatic for me, that for a period of time, I let that experience, that moment right there, define who I was. And for a period of time, for a season, I allowed myself to lower myself because I let that experience, I kept waking up that experience in my mind. I kept allowing that experience to hold me back, and I kept dragging it along with me. And as long as I was stuck within that perception of it, okay, my life was stuck. Okay. You almost feel immobile. You almost feel like you can't move, right? It's like you want to move, but it doesn't let you. You want to show up, but it doesn't let you show up. You want to go to the gym, but it's almost like there's an invisible, rope holding you. But there's nothing there though. That's the craziest part. Does anybody understand where I'm coming from, or is it just me? Does anybody else ever felt this way, or is it just me that has been there before? Because I've been there before, right? Because what ends up happening is we let the past turn into an anchor, right? We let the past turn into an anchor, and it keeps us in the same place, repeating the same patterns, repeating the same pain over and over and over and over again. Exactly. The anchor is the best word for sure. It's like an anchor. And it's like you want to move, you want to go. You want to go, but it's like, damn. That's it, right? But here's the game changer for all of us here. Because I see a lot of you guys are like, yes, Nano, I can relate. And I'm glad that we can relate with this. You see, the thing is, here's the game changer. We're not in the past anymore. We're not in the past anymore. You know where we are? We're here. Today's Thursday, December 12th. We're here now. And we have the power to create anything that we want in life. Okay? That's the beauty of it. And this message is as much for me as it is for you guys. Okay? I'm the one teaching it, but this message is as much for me as it is for you guys as well. We have the power. We can decide today, December 12th, 2024. Okay? It's about to be 11 a.m. Eastern time. We can decide right now at this very moment, in the past, in the now, that we're going to go out and create whatever it is that we want in life. Because you got to understand, guys, right now we're fully present on this call right here. All of us. We got over 100 plus people on the call right now. All right. We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. Every single one of you, the 100 plus watching live right now, you have the opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to draw the line in the sand behind me. All of us. You could go literally right here. Draw the line in the sand and you could tell yourself, I'm never going back over there. I'm only going to focus on where I am now and what I'm going to create moving forward. But it has to be a decision that we all make, because we cannot allow the past to keep defining us. We can't allow the past to keep holding us back. We can't allow the past to become an anchor in our lives. Okay? We can't. My mentor always told me, he said, Nano, your perspective will either be your present. No, he said, your perspective will either be your passport or your prison. What we see. It can either be your prison or it can be your passport. It's the key. Or here's my question for you guys. Is your past going to be your prison or is it going to be your passport? Let me know in the chat box. What's your decision on this December 12th? Or is it going to be your prison or is it going to be your passport? Because if you're going to write down passport, then every one of you guys, Alessandro, Gabby, Veronica, Dario, Amy, Eunice, Myra, Heather, Miguel, Junior, Emmy, Great Lady, Royalty, right? Here we got Mama Don't Go. We got Inspired by Sim. We got Monique. Who else we got over here, right? All of us. La Tierra, Mer, Wally, Julia. If you're writing passport, then Chris, right? You're drawing the line. You're drawing the line in the sand behind you, and you're saying, "Yo, that's it. That's it." The past is gonna have no power unless. Let's see who was taking notes. How will the past have power in our lives? What's the only way the past can continue to have power in our lives moving forward? What's the only way? Right? What's the only way? I said it earlier. Not if you let it. Exactly. Here we go, Mama Don't Go. Emmy, if you wake it up. Remember the quote, the past only exists if you keep waking it up. Don't wake it up anymore. It was there to teach you your lesson. It was there to help you become stronger. It was there to help you grow in a specific area that you needed to grow. It was there to raise your awareness. It was there to teach you. Let it be what it was, but let it go. You can't create the future if you keep looking backwards. You know what my mentor once told me? He said, Nano, you only look back to see how far you've come. I'll never forget that. He said, Nano, you only look back to see how far you've come, bro. Don't worry about anything else. All the lessons that you caught along the way, just let it go. Because here's the problem on why letting go of the past matters. When you focus on the past, you keep reliving the same emotions, the anger, the sadness, the shame. And understand this is what happens. Those emotions influence how you see the present. It's like looking at the world through cracked sunglasses and expecting a clear view. Sometimes the past feels so powerful because you're filtering your current reality through it. And we got to understand that our thoughts are energy. And when you feed energy into the past, you pull it into the now. All right? We create our reality through our emotions and our thoughts. So this is why sometimes bad experiences after bad experiences after bad experiences happen to people, because they keep recreating it. They keep waking it up. You want to have the best year in 2025, you literally have to let it all go. Okay? And what I'm saying is, it's not about just forgetting what happened or denying your feelings. It means that those experiences no longer define your identity. Those experiences are no longer chains. They're actually stepping stones. They're stepping stones. Okay? So here's the strategy on how we're going to let go of the past. Okay? Get ready. We're going to go over 5 points on how we're going to 5 points. Yep. 5 points on how we're going to let go of the past. Okay? And this is important. If we can understand this right here, it's going to be amazing. Because a shift in perspective has to happen. Right? We got to learn how to turn the pain into power. Don't deny your feelings. It is what it is, right? Because if you've been hurt by others, then guess what? You've been handed an opportunity to grow your strength and empathy and boundaries. If you failed at something, perfect. You've collected valuable information on what doesn't work, which moves you closer to what does work. If you face trauma, that doesn't define you. What defines you is how you rise, how you heal, and how you channel your experience into helping yourself and to help others. Your past can't haunt you. It can only transform you. Let your scars become the symbols of survival and transformation, not wounds that never heal. That's powerful right there. I'm going to repeat that again. Your past can't haunt you. It can only transform you. Let your scars become symbols of survival and transformation, not wounds that never healed. And that's the truth. That is the truth right there. Let the scars become symbols of survival and transformation. Scars I have are symbols of survival and transformation. All my wounds, I can honestly say to this point, they're all healed. I had to go through what I went through to make me the man that I am today. And for all of you that are on this call listening, it's the same for all of you as well. Okay? So here's the strategy about living here and now, given to me by my billionaire mentor. He said, number 1, okay, repeat the past can't haunt you part. Yes, your past can't haunt you. It can only transform you. Your past can't haunt you. It can only transform you. Let your scars become symbols of survival and transformation. Let your scars become symbols of survival and transformation, not wounds that never heal. I can actually, there you go. Okay, so here it is. How do we understand the strategy on how to get this out, right? Living here and now, right? Number one, we have to acknowledge the present moment, right? What he said was, he said, pause for a moment, right? It's 11:09. Let's just pause real quick and take a deep breath with me real quick, right? Look around. Right now, this moment, you are safe. Whatever happened before, it's not happening now. Learn to remind yourself that you're here, you're now, and you're free. You're free to create the life that you want to live. Sometimes we need to understand that. We need to understand that we are in the present. One of the most powerful things that you can learn is learning how to live in the present moment. Learn to embody this present moment. Notice how we are all here right now. Whatever happened before is not happening right now. Okay? We are safe in this moment right now. We are free, all of us, close to 200 people on today's call. All of us on today's call right now, we are free to create whatever we want. The life that you desire, you can start creating it today, December 12th. This is the key right here. This is what I want you guys to understand. We live in a world that's filled with so much distractions that sometimes we forget that we need to stop and pause. We need to pause sometimes and be fully present in the moment. This is important. Okay. So, point number one states you got to acknowledge the present moment. Learn to acknowledge it more often. Okay. And the reason why this is said is because, hey, if you ever get caught up going and waking up the past, then you know what you do? That's all you got to do right there. It's all you got to do right there. Simple. Acknowledge the present. I'm here, I'm free, and I can create the life that I want moving forward. Whatever was behind me is behind me. Now I'm only focused on the present. The present moment is the only one that matters, right? Why do you think they call it the present? This moment right here is your gift to create the life that you want. All of us right now, we can start right now at this very moment from zero, from scratch, nothing. And you can go and start to create the life that you really want to create. The present moment is the gift. Stop letting the past define your future and the present. Let it all go. Focus on the present. That's number one. Number two, break the cycle of repetition, right? We got to break the cycle of repetition because this is important. Okay? Break the cycle of repetition. Understand that our mind starts to replay things if we allow it. Instead of going into the story and thinking about everything that happened, why don't you focus on redirecting your energy towards the positives? If you catch yourself going into the past, right? One thing I've learned about the past is that there's something that you can do called revise. There's a revisement. Even though you had the experience that you had, right? If you could go back and revise it, which basically means if you could go back and do it all over again, how would you do it? If you could go back and relive that moment, okay, how could I relive it the right way? If I could go back and just try this again. And think of it as, you know what? Here's the lesson. Here's the beauty of it. I love what Ashley said here on Instagram. She said, the past is a place of reference. Okay. The past is a place of reference, not residence. I remember that one. That's a good one. The past is a place of reference, not residence. Okay. So we got to break that cycle of repetition through revision. Let it go. Focus on the positive that's coming from everything that's happening. I look at it, one of my what's funny? One of my most recent struggles and one of my most recent, difficulties that I had in life, the reason why I went through it was to get me closer to God. Notice how that works, right? It took for God to put me through what I went through for me to get closer to him. That was the lesson that I learned. All that pain that I went through was so that I can realize that I need to put God first. Notice how that works. Prior to that, it wasn't that I didn't believe in God. It wasn't that I didn't trust him or I didn't have faith. It was just there were things that I was putting more importance on than him. And you know how our God is. Our God is a jealous God. He said, you know what? You want to put everybody else first? You want to put all the other things first? I'm going to make it to where I'm the only thing that's in your life. And he put me through it. And like they say, you don't know that God is all you need until God is all you have. So even though the experience sucked and it was hard and it was heartbreaking and it was one of the hardest things I ever went through, the lesson behind it was, I need you closer to me, son. I need you to put me first. Everything else will be added on to you. Everything else you want is already yours, but you got to put me first. And at the time, I didn't understand. At the time, it didn't make sense. Okay? But that was the lesson. That was the beauty of that experience. And at the time, let me tell you guys, it was one of the hardest things I ever went through. But now looking back, I'm grateful. Because I could look back and look at only the positive of that situation right there. I won't focus even the pain looks positive now, looking at it now. So believe it or not, all the pain, all the struggle, all the difficulty that you're going through, one day you'll look back and that you'll look at it as a positive. You'll be like, yo, I'm grateful I went through that. I'm grateful I went through those experiences. Because if it wasn't for those experiences, you would have never learned the lessons that you needed to learn. You would have never strengthened in the areas that you were weak. Your awareness would have never increased. I was saying this the other day to some of my friends. I was saying to them, I'm like, yo, I remember when, I could sing my favorite song, word for word, but I couldn't tell you a Bible verse. I read every personal development book you could think of, but I had never read the word. But notice how certain experiences in your life cause you to shift. That's what sometimes needs to happen to us. It's like the story of the dog sitting on the nail. One of my favorite stories in the world, the dog sitting on the nail. Guy walks into the grocery store to buy groceries for his family. He hears a dog crying in the back of the grocery store. And as he keeps shopping, he hears this dog crying over and over and over again. And he goes back and he just sees a dog sitting there. And as he's finishing up his shopping, he goes to the front and he tells the store owner, he's like, hey, what's up with your dog? He's back there sitting down, just crying. And the owner says, he's sitting on a nail. And the guy looks at him with this confused look. He's like, what do you mean he's sitting on a nail? He's like, yeah, the dog is sitting on the nail. That's why he's crying. So the guy asks him, well, why doesn't the dog get up? And the store owner says, because it doesn't hurt him enough. What's the moral of the story? Sometimes we are the dog sitting on the nail. And all we're doing is crying, complaining, and all these other things. But it doesn't hurt us enough to go and get up and change. We just prefer to be the dog sitting on the nail. It doesn't hurt you enough that you're still stuck in the same place. It doesn't hurt you enough that you haven't been able to get to where you want to go to. It doesn't hurt you enough that your parents are still working. It doesn't hurt you enough that your bank account doesn't have the amount of money that you want it to have. It doesn't hurt you enough that you're not able to, take your kids to the school that you really want to take your kids to. It doesn't hurt you enough that you haven't been able to move out of the neighborhood that you grew up in. It doesn't hurt you enough. And I remember hearing that story. And when that story was said to me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because the way it was said to me, it was like this. Because the person knew me. The person knew me. He was like, yo, Neno, it doesn't hurt you. Because I was stuck. I was like comfortable. He was like, Neno, it doesn't hurt you that your parents are still working every single day. It doesn't hurt you that you still live in the hood. It doesn't hurt you that you still haven't been able to make over $100,000. It doesn't hurt you that you don't have $1,000 saved. It doesn't hurt you that you can't go to a steak restaurant right now and buy yourself food for you and your family. It doesn't hurt you, bro. You're the dog sitting on the nail right now. All you're telling me is complaints, complaints, complaints. But I don't see no actions. I don't see you moving. And sometimes some of us don't move because it doesn't hurt us enough. But when he said that story to me, it hurt me. It hurt. And at that moment, I said, I need to move. I need to make a change. I needed to make a change. Some of us, it gotta hurt. It has to hurt. You gotta break that cycle of repetition. You gotta get out of it. You gotta get out of it. All right. Now, how do we do that? We go to number 3. We have to create a new focus. We have to create a new focus. Okay, a new story. Like I said, I've told you guys this. If you can imagine, if you can sit down and close your eyes and you could think of 2025, right? Pero que mío. And if you can see the end of 2025 right now, if you could go and visit a year from now, and you could go to December 31st, 2025, and you could go visit that place, and you can imagine the most amazing year that you just had, the money you made, the experiences you had, everything. If you can go and visit that place, what does that look like? What is that story like? Make that your new focus. That should be your only focus. That right there should be your only focus. Because whatever we focus on, it's going to grow. If we keep focusing on the past, if we keep focusing on everything that's not working for us, then that's what's going to grow. Why don't we focus on the best year ever? The year where you make the most money, the year where you grow to the best version of you, the year where everything that you wanted to happen for you starts to happen for you. How about we focus on that? What is the story that you're going to live in 2025? Buy into that. Forget about the story of 2024. Forget about your 23 story. Forget about everything. Remember, the only way we go back to the past is if we wake it up. Let's not wake it up anymore. Let's starve the past and feed the present and future. Starve the past, feed the present and the future. Change the story. What's the story that you want to live in 2025? I mean, dude, this is why I always tell people journaling is so important. You can create the story that you want to live, okay, right from the comfort of your journal. You can literally sit down and create it on a day-to-day basis. As a matter of fact, these are things that I've done to myself. Look, I don't know if you guys can see my journal, but this journal right here, the pages are burned in the corner, as you guys can see. This was me writing down the old version of me and then burning the pages to represent that that's no longer going to be me anymore. That was a whole ceremony, a personal ceremony I did to myself. My mentor said, he said, write down your old version of you, all the lies you used to tell yourself about yourself. And then at the end of it, I want you to burn the edges of the page. So you guys can see, look, I burned the edges of the page to represent that no longer was going to be me. And sometimes that's what you got to do, believe it or not. I'm trying to see if I have my 2024 story here somewhere. Intentions. No, I don't think I have it on this one. I know I wrote it down somewhere. I'm trying to see if I did write it down, but I don't think I did. No. No, I don't have it here. I thought I did, but no. A day in the life. No, I didn't. So, but I share that with you guys because, I think it's important that we all understand how important it is to change the story. If you're able to focus on the specific story that's going to help you grow, that's going to help you, become the person that you want to, become, then it'll happen. But you got to change the story. Because one thing a lot of people don't know is that whatever story you tell yourself enough is the story you're going to believe. And whatever story you believe is the one that you're going to live. So whatever you're living right now, wherever you're living right now at this very moment, okay, is a reflection of a story that you told yourself enough that you got yourself to believe. Okay, that's really all it is. The story I'm living right now, what I'm living at this current moment too, okay, is very simply the story that I told myself enough and I got myself to believe. If I want to change, I have to change the story. And you know what the beauty of it is about the story? You're the author. So you can pick what story you want to tell yourself that you want to get yourself to believe. So my question for all of us that are on this call, the 150 plus people that are on this call, what's your story for 2025? Create it. Because if you don't create it, then you're going to buy into whatever other story somebody else feeds you, or you're going to buy into a story of the past, or you're just going to buy into no story, no belief, no nothing. A couple people asking me, this journal right here, I buy it on Amazon. Okay. They're called Moonster journals. Moon, like Moon, stir, Ster. Moonster journals, Moonster leather journals. You get them on Amazon. If you're gonna buy one, get the biggest one, the 8x6. I actually just bought my 2025 journal. They have different engravements, as you can see. This one has a heart right here. The one that I bought for 2025 has a tree in front of it. I'm actually looking to get sponsored by them, actually. So we'll see. Hopefully they can sponsor me. I'm trying to get sponsored by them so I can get some more journals and maybe be able to do something with them. But it's good stuff. And I want you guys to get in the habit of creating your future story. Honestly, one of the most valuable things that you guys can do before the end of the year ends, okay, is write down your 2025 story. Write it down. Write it down. I'm telling you, it'll make a huge difference. I'm gonna hit you up about that, Samaya. That's actually a good idea, right? It's very important. All right. So that's number 3. Number 4, transform your pain into passion. I know this is something you guys have heard. I'm not even gonna spend too much time on it, but yo, let all that pain turn it into passion so you could wake up earlier, so you could work more, so you could read more, so you can, call more people, make more phone calls, everything that's required that you need, let it turn into passion, bro. Let it turn into purpose. Become that version of you and just tell yourself, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. One of the most valuable things my mentor taught me was learning how to channel energy. Nano, you gotta love channeling your energy in the right places. My brother Teacup, love you more, my brother. We out here, you already know. He said, Nano, learn to channel energy. Learn how to channel that negative energy, that pain. Learn how to channel that into passion. Learn how to channel it. Because that can help you wake up more. That can help you study more. That can help you recruit more. That can help you, whatever it is that you got to do, it'll help you do it. I'm telling you. And let me tell you guys something. One of the reasons I'm gonna launch private one-on-one mentorship in 2025 is because I feel like one of the things that holds people back is lack of accountability and lack of guidance. If I would have had somebody to break everything down for me and identify all the areas in my life and sat down with me and said, okay, Nano, let's start with you. Let's start with your personal development. Let's look at your finances. Let's look at your job or your business. Let's look at your social media. Let's look at your relationship with God. And if somebody could have sat down with me and broke down all these areas for me and gave me goals in each area, and then was there to hold me accountable and give me a game plan of what I needed to do to change my life in a 6 or 12-month period, whilst doing weekly to monthly calls individually with myself, if I would have had that in the beginning, it would have changed my life forever. I would have gotten to where I've gotten a lot faster. So I'm going to start offering that as a part of private one-on-one mentorship, but it will be a little bit more expensive than what you guys will usually pay for, because it's high ticket, because it's going to take a lot of my time, but I'm willing to start doing that for small groups of people, 10 to 15 people every 90 days. And it's going to be next level. And if that's something that you guys need, then you guys will have access to it very early. But that's going to be the focus behind it. Let's say I'll use example, Ray Ray. I'll sit down with somebody like Ray Ray. I'll be like, all right, Ray Ray, let's talk. Let's break it down from personal to business to relationships to this, finances, everything. It's going to be an open conversation. We're going to identify where Ray Ray is, and we're going to identify where Ray Ray wants to go. And my job is going to be to help Ray Ray fill in that blank, that space. We're going to identify A, we're going to identify B. My goal is to help Ray Ray fill in the blank. This is how we're going to do it. And I'm going to be here to hold you accountable. You pay me to hold you accountable and to give you the game plan. That's going to be the game. I'm only going to do it for small amounts of people. Whoever's willing to pay will get it, because that's what it costs. Because the more you pay, the more you pay attention. If it was free at not, people won't do it. But if you're willing to invest, you'll treat it very serious, and it'll be worth every dollar and more. As a matter of fact, it's underpriced compared to the value that you're going to get from it. Because if I was to tell you guys right now, is it worth, let me ask you guys a question. Is it worth, this is not going to be the price, but is it worth $10,000 for you to change your life forever? Yes or no? If I were to tell you, yo, invest $10,000 and your life will be changed forever, would you do it? Yes or no? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's priceless. So this is what we're going to be doing for people. That's going to be one of the elevations that's going to happen within the Nano family. So just be on the lookout for it, because it's coming. But I just gave you guys a little idea of it. But that's going to be the game. All right. And then number 5 is very simple. Practice gratitude, man. Learn to practice gratitude every day. You know, I always teach people, one of the most important things that you could do every morning when you wake up is pray and practice gratitude. Get in the habit of, when you wake up, write down 5 things that you're grateful for and why. Start doing that. Make that a part of your routine. I challenge all of you guys to make it a part of your routine to wake up, write down 5 things that you're grateful for and why you're grateful for those things. So if you're grateful for your mom, why are you grateful for your mom? If you're grateful for your health, why are you grateful for your health? If you're grateful for your kids, why are you grateful for your kids? If you're grateful for your business, why are you grateful for your business? Don't just tell me what you're grateful for, tell me why you're grateful for it. And if you can wake up every day and do that every day, and write down 5 things that you're grateful for and why, and every day you pick 5 new things, within a couple of days, you're going to start looking for random things to be grateful for. Because think about it. Once you're grateful for the people in your family, once you're grateful for a couple of things in your life, your business, friends, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, kids, once you include all of that stuff, then you're going to be like, wait, what else do I need to be grateful for? And now you're going to start looking and finding things to be grateful for. Learn how to practice gratitude. My mentor once told me, he said, the 2 highest forms of emotions are love and gratitude. Love and gratitude are the 2 highest forms of emotions. And the fastest way to raise your vibration is through gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys realize how much I say thank you on these calls all the time? I start off the call saying thank you, guys. At the end, we practice gratitude. You know, sometimes our prayers are just not even asking God for anything. It's just thank you. 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 Because we got to be grateful. You know, I don't eat without prayer and gratitude. You know, I don't like to do anything without being thankful. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. You know, I'm grateful for everything that's in my life. Even the challenges, I'm grateful for them. That's something we all got to learn how to do and learn how to understand. But those right there are the 5 points that you can use to let go of the past. Okay? So that you can learn to let go of the past and live in the present. We said number 1, acknowledge the present moment. We said number 2, break that cycle of repetition. Number 3, create your new focus. Create that new story. Number 4, transform the pain into passion. And number 5, practice gratitude. But if there's one thing that I want all of you to do on this call, right now it's 11:37 Eastern. You know, it's probably 10:37 Central. It's probably 8:38 now Pacific. We're going to end this call here in the next 2 minutes or so. What I want you to do for the rest of this hour, for the next 20 minutes before the hour reaches the next hour. I want you to grab a piece of paper. I want you to grab your notebook, your journal, whatever it is. And I want you to write down the 2025 story for yourself. What is your 2025 story? I don't want you to wait. Don't tell me that you're going to do it later. Don't tell me that you're going to do it at the end of the month. No, the next 20 minutes. I want you to right now, because what happens is if you leave it for later, you're not going to do it. I want you to sit down right away, grab your pen, grab your paper, open it up. And at the top of the paper, write down my 2025 story, because that's going to be your focus. Okay, that's going to be your focus. And here's the key. You have to write it down from the perspective. Okay, you got to write it down from the perspective that it is December 31st, 2025. So it's already the end of the year. You just had the best year ever. And here's how it's going to sound so you can have an idea of it. And I'm going to just wing it off the top of my head. I'm going to give you guys an idea of how it would sound. Wow. Congratulations, Nano. You just had the best year in 2025. This has been one of your most remarkable years because this was the year that you made the decision to focus on yourself more than ever before. Your discipline was the best it's ever been. You were consistent all year with your morning routine. Your body is at the strongest that it's ever been. You read over 30 books. You did everything that was required personally. And because you focused so much on yourself, your business reached new heights. You're making over $50,000 a month. Your team is at over 5,000 plus people, and you just keep going. You travel to this location. Your social media is striving. You reached over 100,000 followers. You travel to 5 new countries. Boom, 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 boom. And you just go with it. You just let it flow. You just let it flow. Write it. Everybody's story is different, but write it down. How much money did you make? How do you look personally? I would start with you personally. What did you become personally? And then let it all flow from there. How was your business? How did you handle your finances? What did you accomplish? Did you move out of your neighborhood? What did you do for your kids? How was your relationship with your significant other? How did you build that relationship with God? How is your relationship with God? Is it stronger than it's ever been? Like, sit down, and if you can create the most ideal story for 2025, write it down. And then after you write it down, commit at the bottom of the paper, sign it, and say, this is my focus for this year. This is the only thing I'm going to focus on. This is how I'm going to. You don't know how it's going to happen, because remember, you don't need to know how it's going to happen. You don't need to know how it's going to happen. You just need to write it down. You need to create it, because you need to fill the void now. This is point A. December 12th, 12/12 is point A. December 31st, 2025 is point B. Let God and the universe fill in that void. Let it fill it in. Point A, point B. Let God and the universe fill this in. They'll take care of the rest. But make point B your focus. 2025 is the best year of your life. 2025 will be the year that you make the most money, that you accomplish the most that you've ever accomplished, that you build the closest relationship with God, that you do everything that you said that you were going to do. And I'm telling you, if you trust me with what I'm telling you right now, everything you write down on that piece of paper, more than 80 to 90% of it will be a reality. Because every year I've done it, I'm telling you, it has happened. It's low-key one of my secrets. Every year that I've done this for the last 5 years, 80 to 90%, sometimes 100% of what I write down becomes my reality. And that is the truth. All right, guys. So if I can count on you to spend the next 15 minutes working on your story, working on that, I want you to type focus in the chat. I want you to type focus in the chat if I can count on you to make that your focus over the next 15 to 20 minutes. If I can count on you to create that 2025 story. which means if you're typing focus in the chat, the moment I end this stream, you're going to start writing it down. Start writing it down. And once you write it down, remember, this is your new focus now. It's not the past. It's not what happened. You're not waking up the past. As a matter of fact, you should make that a part of your story. I will no longer wake up the past. I will no longer focus on what doesn't serve me. And watch what will happen for all of you guys. Do I need to hang it up in my room? I would. Put it somewhere where you could repeat it to yourself. My mentor used to tell me, yo, read it in the morning, read it in the night. And you know what ends up happening? The story expands because it starts now, but then next thing you know, you're like, wait, I want to do this and I want to accomplish this. And next thing you know, you rewrite the story now, but you rewrite it with more detail. I recommend you guys to write it in as much detail as you want. Where are you going to live? What does it look like? How much money are you going to make? What car are you going to drive? How's your relationship? What does your body look like? Get into detail with it. I'm telling you, it'll change you guys forever. I promise you that. So with that being said, that wraps up today's call, guys. Again, thank you so much. I pray that you guys were all able, to get value from this. Remember, after today, should we write in the present tense? Yes, we write it. You write it like you already accomplished it. It already happened. So when you write it, you're writing it. It already happened. You're the author. So it's December 31st, 2025. What happened this year? Write it down with no shame, it happened. It happened. You wanted to make $10,000 a month. It happened already. You wanted to move out. You moved out. Where are you living? Write it all down in the present tense like it already. You're congratulating yourself in the perspective that everything that you wrote down that you wanted to accomplish already happened. Trust me, it'll happen, but you got to write it down. You got to believe it. And remember, whatever story you tell yourself, you will believe. And whatever you believe, you will live. If you tell yourself this story right now that you're going to be writing down, if you tell yourself that story enough, I promise you, magical things will start to happen for you. But you got to trust me. You got to do the work. All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your rest of your Thursdays, your Fridays, and the rest of the weekend. Remember, don't let your weekend be your weekend. I love you guys so much. I'm going to do a little quick prayer for us. It's more gratitude than anything else. So we can finish the call off strong, and then we'll finish it up right there. So quick, bow your heads. And I just want to say, Father God, thank you so much for waking us up on this beautiful Thursday morning. Today, we don't want to ask. Today, we just want to say thank you, God. Thank you for waking us up. Thank you for our health. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for aligning us with the right people that are continuously growing and becoming the best versions of themselves. Thank you for your love. Thank you for the wisdom that you give us on a day-to-day basis. Thank you for always allowing us to learn from our challenges and become better versions of ourselves. We are committed to the kingdom more than we've ever been. And we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for all the lessons, for everything that you've done for us this year and up until this very moment. But we also want to say thank you ahead of time for all that's coming, God. You're the greatest. We follow you to the end, Father, and we're just so, so thankful for it all. We love you and we appreciate you. In God's name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. All right, guys. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your days, rest of your weekends. And I will see you guys next Tuesday here on YouTube. Same time, 10:30-ish. And we're going to keep running it up. All right, guys. I'm glad that God allowed us to have this call today with no lag. And that's what it's all about, fam. So I love y'all. Love you too, sis. Appreciate you guys. Let's keep running it up. And I'll see you guys next call.